When we talked about the 6 phases of your career, we talked about how the market values you. Let's turn that now and talk about how you value employers and potential opportunities. There are 3 factors at work here when you value opportunities, and unfortunately, they're often at war with one another. These 3 factors are what I call the career triangle: job satisfaction, lifestyle, and money. So let's take job satisfaction. Job satisfaction has all to do with the quality and importance of the work. How interesting is it? How much are you learning? How much are you contributing? And how much are you growing? But also, are you working with people that you really respect and like? And is it in an environment that you feel really good about? Is it a brand or a mission that you really feel aligned with? All of those factors will combine to constitute your job satisfaction, how happy you are in the job. A second factor is lifestyle. That has to do with how the job fits into your life and how your life fits into the job. Where is it located? Is it a city or a place that you want to live? How long is the commute? How much travel do you get to do or have to do? How much control do you have over your schedule? How many hours will you work? All of these have to do with defining lifestyle.
One piece of advice I would give to young people is, look, if you aren't married yet, if you don't have kids yet, if you are largely accountable to yourself and your own well-being, I do think you're in a position to take some risks that would be more difficult later in life. And so one thing that I would say is, don't be afraid to make mistakes of commission rather than omission. A lot of people who struggle in their 20s, I say they are living in the gray twilight. And what I mean by that is Theodore Roosevelt once said, "It is far better to dare mighty deeds, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat." And so when you are in your 20s, you do need to be strategic. You have to be disciplined. But being strategic and disciplined can also let you take some chances. It can allow you to say, you know what? I am going to move to Jakarta, Indonesia, or Nairobi, Kenya, or Santiago, Chile, and take that job that scares me a little bit. So I do think it's a good idea when people are at the beginning part of their careers to take a few chances.
The third point on the career triangle is money. What's your compensation? What's the base level of compensation? Do you have an opportunity for bonus? Is there any equity? Are you working as an hourly? All the things that constitute money. We all want it all. We want a great job that is high on the job satisfaction, that has a great lifestyle, and that makes a lot of money. But the reality is that those 3 points on the career triangle are often at war with one another. It's relatively easy to optimize one factor at the expense of the other 2. And often it's possible to optimize 2, but usually the third slips away. For example, if you love finance and you want to work in a role that is about the financial markets or modeling, you tend to make a lot of money on that. But the sad truth is you might be working 80 hours a week or have to work weekends. Or similarly, you love retail, serving customers, working on brands, and you're making decent money in a training program of a large department store, but you have to work Black Friday after Thanksgiving or over Christmas. Or let's say you just love lifestyle and you love playing tennis and you have the opportunity to be a tennis pro. You love the work, you're teaching people, and you're working outside in good hours, but it's hard to make a living doing that. The point is that knowing that these 3 things are at odds with one another gives you the opportunity to make knowledgeable trade-offs, and how you choose to make trade-offs might be different in your aspiration phase, to your promise phase, to your momentum phase. Here's the good news about the career triangle. You can have it all. You can have job satisfaction, you can have good lifestyle, and you can have good money. The bad news is you can't necessarily have that all at the same time. So here's the key to career management: understanding that these trade-offs exist and making decisions how to optimize different points at different phases of your career. So how, therefore, do you advise young professionals to think about money and balancing the experience and job satisfaction and the desire and the need in many cases to actually make money to live your life?
Yeah, this is a tough and very personal one. There's a lot of people who, myself included, who, early in their career, they want to have a big impact on the world. They want to do meaningful things. They want to do good things. They want to give back. And the trade-off is, if you do that with 100% of your time early on in your career, you're less likely to reach a point later in your career where you can have immense impact. So, one of the things I did in college was I started a nonprofit, and it was working with at-risk high school age kids. I was in college. We recruited a bunch of people to be counselors for kids who had problems, and I did a bunch of that work as well. And it was incredibly satisfying. But if after college I had kept doing that, I probably would have had a fine career. Instead, I went in a different path. I did some volunteer work on the side and got involved and did what I could. But I focused on my career more than, it was 80% career and maybe 10 or 20%, giving back. But it got me to a point where now I can give back a tremendous amount, every way you measure it, in a way that had I just been giving from the start, I wouldn't have been able to. And it sounds kind of calculating and perhaps mercenary in retrospect, but the reality is you need to pick your jumping off point. And there's times when you need to invest in yourself and in your future, and that's early in your career. There's plenty of time to give, there's plenty you can do, and the faster you move in your career early on, the more time you'll have to give back.